Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here, and we're going to take a look today at a recent arrival for the Transformer toys. This is the War for Cybertron release of Bumblebee and Spike Witwicky. And of course, it's done up in the box art style, sort of similar for the Kingdom line that's out now for War for Cybertron. Or at least it's out for most of the stores. I know that from talking to a few of my friends, some of them have yet to see some of the Kingdom toys out there. And I'll admit just the other night I'm starting to have a little bit of trouble finding them myself. So I'm lucky to have the few that I do. But there's also this bit of the stuff here at the bottom. This buzzworthy Bumblebee. Now this is referring to some predominantly reissues for the Bumblebee toys, as Hasbro is re-releasing some of predominantly it's the Studio Series toys. Most of them feature Bumblebee, but not all of them, because one of them that's in the line is Studio Series Shatter, the female Decepticon from Bumblebee. So they've got her out there. There's, at least from what I've seen, there's two versions of Bumblebee from the original Transformers movie from 2007, which would be his original alt mode, and then the Camaro alt mode, because it also comes with Sam. Not that that's worth anything. And there is one that's done from the Bumblebee movie, so he will become the Volkswagen, and it comes with Charlie. And then, of course, there's this toy here, which we're going to put most of our focus on today. As we stated from the packaging, it does have Bumblebee and his best friend Spike. Spike, of course, is in his exosuit, as he was famously portrayed in the 1986 Transformers the movie, which also coincides with a release that's being done starting this year. Hasbro's Studio Series will be doing some toys based on characters from the 1986 animated movie. I've read that they're going to have, for the first wave of those toys, which, if the information is correct, should be available either right now or relatively soon. There's going to have Jazz, Blur, and Cup as the deluxe class. Then the next class up will have Hot Rod and Scourge. And the large leader class toys will feature Grimlock, who does come with Wheelie. That's all they've listed so far, all because here in 2021, Transformers the movie turns 35 years old. Hopefully we'll be able to score a few of them this year, and we'll look forward to doing some reviews on them. But for right now, let's concentrate here on Bumblebee. And of course, for anybody that's interested, we'll set the original Bumblebee toy. Hey, don't look so modest there. Right here next to him. There we go. Now we know he's going to stand up. Let's get Spike out of the way here. And as you can see, it is done up to resemble the toy a little. The figure resembles the animation model a little bit better, but of course it's also radically different, since this one will not become a Volkswagen Beetle like the original toy did. But he certainly improves on the articulation. The original one, we could only rotate his arm at the shoulder, and we could mess around with his ankles, but all in all, that was about it. On this modern Bumblebee here, well, we got a few more options. You can turn his head from side to side. It does not rock up and down, so it is not on a ball joint. We can raise his arms up about so far, and if you get the rear fender to fold it all the way against his back, he can rotate his arms at the shoulder all the way. He does have a hinge at the elbow, so he can bend his arm at the elbow 90 degrees. Unfortunately, he does have a slight swivel here at the bicep because the elbow is on a ball joint. So he does have that going for him. He does not twist at the hip, but we can spread his legs apart into a full splits. We can raise his leg up at the hip 90 degrees, and he can bend at the knee 90 degrees. So, good old Bumblebee here has quite a range of motion. Now, as we get ready to move on, I want to show you his accessory, because this does bring about a little bit of concern for me. And that is his gun right here. Yeah, it's nice to see Bumblebee actually come with a gun. Little mini vehicles back in the G1 day very seldom had a gun. Only Outback in the original line had a gun. But as you can see, from the way it's against my hand here, this gun is very, very small. Trying to get it at an angle where you can see, just get a glimpse of how tiny this thing is. This is a very small gun. I just dropped it on the floor. Thankfully, this carpet is tan, so I didn't lose it. But, as you can tell, this is a very tiny gun. It makes me wonder how the Consumer Product Safety Commission has not banned this toy, because this is one that could easily get swallowed by a small child. And I know I do have a few parents out there, so if you are thinking about getting this toy for your children, I would definitely recommend it goes to one that does not put toys in its mouth. But also to warn parents that this gun in particular, will likely wind up in the vacuum cleaner a few times. So, heads up to moms and dads out there watching this channel. Okay, now, let's get ready to transform Bumblebee here. And it is a relatively simple process, but brand new, he is a bit of a pain, because I did struggle with him early on due to the way the shoulders are set up. The instructions want you to make sure the head pitches downward a bit, so that way you can turn him around and fold up the rear section of the car. Make sure it goes all the way up and over Bumblebee's head. And then you're going to straighten out this rear panel here, just to make sure it's totally up. You'll turn him around here to the front, and you're going to connect the legs together at his feet. As you can see down here, there's the open slots for that. And of course, once you've done that, you will fold the feet up into his ankles, just exactly like that. And then next here, we turn him around, because we're going to fold in the hips a bit, like that. And then you will bend him at the knees, and connect the feet to the windshield, just like that. Just exactly like that. Then next we need to rotate the arms down, like so. And of course the rear panel keeps getting in the way. Now to get the arms in, we got to fold in the shoulders a bit. This little shoulder tab here. Do a little closer to the camera so you can see it. These have got to fold inwards. And that's where the frustrating part gets in on a brand new one. They're a little stiff. And then you just kind of work his forearms in to form the doors of the car. Then, of course, once you've done that, You will fold down the rear mud guards and snap them in to connect to his arms and to that rear panel. Just exactly like that. There we go. And then there you can see Bumblebee is in his alternate mode, which is done up as some sort of futuristic looking car, which I know will be upsetting to some fans, since Bumblebee in the G1 form was a Volkswagen Beetle, as you can see right next to him. And of course, some of you may be wondering why the gun is still out here. Well, there is storage for the gun. If we turn him over upside down, trying to find a good angle where you can see it. Right there it is. There's this little black bit of plastic in here with a hole in it. All you do is you stick the handle for the gun inside there, and voila, the gun is stored, and it's actually in far enough that it does not affect the wheels whatsoever. Now, how does new Bumblebee roll here? It actually rolls half decent. He even skidded to a stop there. Nice moves, Bumblebee. All in all, he's not too bad. Now, of course, we'll bring in his buddy Spike. Here's Spike, everybody. Of course, you wouldn't be able to tell because they have totally done up the helmet in chrome instead of clear plastic. That saves them from molding the head a head, so you can say this is Spike, you could say it's Daniel, his son, even worse. Or you could go so far as to even claim it's you. That wouldn't be too bad, now would it? Unfortunately here for Spike, his articulation is only in the arms. The arms can be rotated, but the back plate gets in the way. So it does limit the range of motion. I mean, it does lower for transforming, so it increases the range of motion, but it still stops it from fully coming around all the way. So that's all you get for Spike. Yeah, the hips do look like that they should move, but there is no metal pin in there, so they do not move. So I would advise do not mess with it, because you will break it. So all this is just rather hollow plastic. Now Spike can transform, just like Daniel did in the animated movie when they were on junk. You can transform him into, well, whatever that alternate mode is supposed to be. All you do to transform Spike is you got to have his arms pointing straight down like this. And then you get the back panel. You just fold it down. And there you have it. And Daniel made it look like it was so difficult in the cartoon, didn't he? Unfortunately, since this thing is all plastic, he has molded on plastic wheels. So how well is he going to roll? Well, pretty good if you give him a good thwack with your thumbnail. But other than that, how else do you expect a toy to move that doesn't have real wheels on it? Anyway, now we get to my thoughts on this. What do I think of this set? Truth be told, folks, this set is a mixed bag for me. I mean, yeah, I've been, like many, have been wanting a new Bumblebee, and unfortunately the only other one that's been put out in modern times, it's not a studio one or a cartoon one, is the Netflix one that I was recently told about by some of my friends. And I do thank all of them for pointing out to me that, yes, there is a Netflix Bumblebee. But as of yet, my Walmart doesn't have a good stock of them in. But this one, the Bumblebee's not bad. It does have a nice amount of articulation. And he does have a little gun, so Bumblebee at least looks like he's ready to go out into a battle. And while the alternate mode here is not a Volkswagen Beetle, it's not bad per se. It doesn't look too bad. I could see Bumblebee adopting an alternate mode like this. It's still a small car, and he still looks pretty good in it. But the biggest issue that I have with the extra price point is Spike. I mean, granted, yes, for those of you who have been around with the channel for a long time, you know I'm not a fan of Spike. I was never a fan of Daniel. Don't get me started on Sam from the live-action movies. Shia deserves all the harsh criticism he gets since he's a poor actor. But this toy is disappointing. The Spike figure is very disappointing since you don't get any real articulation, and the transformation is really rather poor. It's kind of like this was an add-on thought to do, and it really shows that it was cheap. And also my other gripe is, of course, like we stated earlier, with the little tiny gun. So, if anybody from the Consumer Product Safety Commission is watching this, I think you guys might want to look into this toy a little bit. I know COVID's made life difficult for all of us, but come on, that's a dangerous toy. Kid could choke swallowing that gun. But if you don't have anything against those gripes, by all means, I'd say go for it. Because in all, it's not really a bad toy, just things about it could have been a little bit better. Anyway, that's my review of the War for Cybertron version of Bumblebee and Spike. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you liked the video, please leave me a thumbs up here on YouTube. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button down there and join our ranks. Make sure you ring that bell so you'll get notified when I post new content. I ask that you share this video with your friends and fellow collectors. That's what helps the channel grow. And, of course, leave your thoughts about Spike and Bumblebee in the comments down below. This is Sparkster1701 saying I'll catch you all later.